Now, the thing is, I'm counting all those, they don't give me an answer. We have to, how do we know they got it right?
Well,
We're back to
doing
it.
like a class.
No, you're, yeah, this
So
is
if you're
very
an
warm up or
instructional
something.
thing.
Yeah.
There are
Yeah.
programs
Kids
that
could do
have
that.
one word,
I mean,
right?
you can end up doing stuff
Yeah.
like that though.
There are programs.
Yeah.
That have.
You could even create your own, but that's like, a lot of times, honestly, if you go to YouTube
Yeah, they have.
and search for different lessons or different ways to use this, they'll have somebody demonstrating it on a video.
And can't you just like Google like money smart lesson?
Mhm.
And that comes
And then
up.
it'll come up.
Yeah.
And then you just see how you kind of can play around with it and just see how it works, because if someone's made it, you gotta be careful about where you're touching the screen, where they want things.
Sometimes when someone else has made it, they might lock something, so you have to click on the object, and you'll see under locking, they'll lock it in place because they don't want it to move. You'll just have to unlock it to move it where you'd want to. A lot of times they do that because they obviously don't want the kids to be able to move that one object for some reason. But you can also, so when you're talking about like having the right answer, the extend page isn't coming up. One of the things you can do is you can, usually there's a thing that says you can extend pages. But there's a shade. I know the shade that comes up from the bottom. Remember the shade icon is? Isn't it usually on top? Yeah. Is it under here? Oh, it's right here. So you can cover up, let's say you put your answer here, and the kids had to work over here, and then they could just uncover it. That's one of the ways I know to do that.
Do that again? I like that shade.
If you look up here, there's something that looks like a pull-down shade.
Yep.
So let's say you made your own, like let's say you want them to count out 55 cents and you did it over here and you had it available for the kids to do here. So you wanted them to work it out and then check their answer. After you created yours here with the right answer, you click the shade and then you can pull it over to wherever, let's say your answer was under here. They can do their work here and then they can pull the shade back to check it and see if it's right.
Wow.
So to save it, you just do exactly like on Microsoft Word or one of the other programs, you do save as. Name it whatever you want to name it. Name it money. That's what I ended up doing. And then you just save it.
I wonder if we could all get a Smartboard in our
I
classroom.
know, wouldn't that be nice? There is that technology grant through the district, although I've put it in 3 years and I've never gotten anything, so.
I did last year and didn't get anything.
Does anybody have any questions about what we've done so far? Does anybody want to come up and play around a little bit? No?
Kim, I used it, I don't want to come up because I used it this year because I had it in my room, so, which was great. And if you go to and I went to the Hardcore Learning site, and there's vocabulary and vocabulary pictures and audio. So my little first graders, for ELLs, this was particular for ESL kids, they, these are little 7-year-old, they were able to, I taught them how to do it by middle December. They would come up, they would get able to get to the site, click on the word, and then these huge pictures come up. It's vocabulary. And then they would just tap it and say the definition.
You want to show them, Linda?
Show it.
I don't know
How to
if
get
I
to the
remember.
website. Is it
I have to go to,
Those were things.
The under favorite.
no, just go
That's what I
to,
Oh, wow. I'm not sure you should use
Google. You have to go to Google and do Hardcore Learning site. Can you do that?
You can do it on the laptop.
I'm used to the mouse.
Alright.
Yeah, so.
Just do.
Is that Friday, Linda and
You can hook the mouse
We
to
went a long
those
way
too.
about doing it, but they wrote this in their notebooks. It was Katie and Margie's class in particular. all the kids know how to do it, but the little first graders, so now hardcore, just go to hardcore. There's a shorter way, I can't remember right now.
They have
The
hardcore
hardcore
things
on
on that webpage
I don't know, I think
too.
it's our learning site. Yeah, we just had it. Okay, go down. Publishers.
Is that-
Oh, down here. Sorry, that's it. Sorry. Okay, that's it. Okay, so go to. So anybody can do this. It's not just go to the learning site. Thank you. Go to ELL. ELL. And so first grade was yellow, the yellow book. So password is Ada, ADA, that's one of the authors. School name 19. Now my first graders do this. They did this.
How'd you get that though?
New
How'd
York.
you know that?
Because it's, if you look into the manual, it's in any of the publishers in hardcore. And then that's it. And then let's see, he's got school. So explore. And then it's glossary. Yeah.
Not even use the word.
I think it's glossary. Okay, so then you can go to select a grade, go to first grade. So you guys can pick any grade you want. First grade, we did lesson, go to lesson 29. I think that was the moon.
I think it needs to be reoriented.
It took a while, but they, you know, these are little 7-year-olds. With your class and Margie's, all the classes, but in particular, first grade, they just loved it.
Unit 5 or 6. Unit 6?
Oh, you could go to any
Third.
unit. The harder, let's see, it should come up. It shouldn't be all those words. Okay. It's just a great way to teach to teach vocabulary. And like I said, I would step back and they took over. They just did it all themselves.
You want to click go on there?
Yeah, put Joel on the thing.
Oh, come on.
Do you have the word again?
So maybe it's already, okay.
Click on one of the words.
So just go to apartment building. There you go. So it has an audio, which is so important in, I think, any apartment building. And then they knew what definition meant, that was different.
Divided into sets of rooms in which people live.
And then
Apartment buildings.
down here it's used in context.
We live in a tall apartment building.
And then it even teaches you, these little friends, what next meant and previous. So they used it in many ways. They would either come up and tap it, or they would use the laptop in my room.
You could have a group do it as you're teaching, like a small private
Exactly.
reading group or something.
They were great. In fact, I had that as part of my formal observation. Almost, so just 10 minutes every day, every day. So it was there, that class really was phenomenal. They all were, because you can go into hardcore and use your vocabulary. You know, there it is on that big screen. They're all up there. And the kids who don't speak English just think any kid, you're listening to the word, you're listening to the definition, and they're engaged.
Yeah.
So if you're not speaking, you're up there doing something.
And if they're up there together, they're talking about and reading it together or whatever.
Right. So, there's tons of vocabulary pictures on this site. Anybody can use it.
And what about that other hardcore?
So Barb, if you open up the teacher manuals, inside the front page will have the names of the publishers. You just pick one.
I didn't know that it was a publisher name, that it was the password.
Is there anything else anybody wants to see
I just-
us do or
I read about it somewhere.
that you feel you might need before you could use it? Or do you want to practice anything or are you just done?
What is it?
I
What are the 2 buttons you need to push to orient the screen?
Come on up, you wanna try it?
So like say the kid moved Steve in the cart when he moved the car, so we moved his nose.
So I'm gonna have to wheel it in, I don't know.
I think the hardest part is learning you need to stay out of the way of the LCD and not to rub your hand when you're using the pen.
So it's
Your hand will write instead of the pen.
Yeah, or your, yeah.
So a lot of the times the kids will go up to write their name and they'll end up like smudging their hand on it too. So if you really want the kids to use it eventually, I would just have a day where you have it in there and have them practice. Come up one at a time and just practice.
So a lot of kids are afraid to like touch it, and it has to be like a constant like force or pressure. Because some kids like press it, then they lift, and then they press it. Even like tapping on things, it needs to be a certain amount. I think they're afraid that they're gonna hurt it or something, or they're, you get to one that's like here. Yeah, it's
Impulsive.
In the rooms where they're stationary, is there a laptop in there already?
It's usually, there's usually a desktop right near it.
Okay. So that way it's all.
Yep. Anything else?
Yeah, if you play around with that over the summer or when you come back, is things that's more intermediate. There is stuff on, what's that account called? I can't even think. Where you get your online textbooks like Fusion and all that, and our Think Central. There you go. Round of applause. Like the Science Fusion has interactive Smartboard lessons already made, and I used a lot of them for like review before I would test out like that unit or that chapter. There's ones for each like section within the unit, so that's good practice too. And it's a lot of audio, so kids can listen, and then after the audio, they can go up and they can pick the answers and move things around. So that's more intermediate, but you can go on and start to play with it until you get a little bit more comfortable with it. They should, yes, everybody should have
And it's
it.
only, you start with password, right? Think Central.
Yep.
To get on, yeah.
The password for Think Central is just the word password. Your name, whatever, like I'm Kay, using it, it's password.
Up there, that little icon.
If you, what's the website? There's a smart notebook website, like, there's a lot of smart notebook lessons. You just have to sign up, it's a free sign up. You just log in, I think, with your username and you make up, or your email and you make up a password. And there are tons of different grade level lessons. You can just search for them and they'll all come up and you click on them and you can download them to the computer and use them and tweak them or whatever.
Can you do that, you put it through print as well, or?
No, they're already made in Smart Notebook, so when you download them, they'll open right up and I did.
And then you click on it and it opens up the Word document. You can save it to your own computer.
Is there anybody else that wanted to see anything?
I think we're all set, guys.
Thank you. Very nice job.